I get a lot of questions about how many genres it is and what a blend it is and was that difficult. I find it more difficult when I have to stick to one genre. Finding Lucille Ball moments in Greek circumstances are the funnest thing ever. My first read through is always just the dialogue because I want to read it like a play. And then I go back and force myself to read stage directions, which is a terrible way to read scripts and doesn't make sense. But their scripts, even the tiniest stage direction, it's like reading Calvin and Hobbes meets Ernest Hemingway, every tiny little description, it just puts you exactly in this very specific, insane world that they've built. And so I just devoured every single syllable of the script. And somehow, even though the world they built is crazy and super original and you've never seen it before, within 2 pages, I was like, I totally understand where I am right now completely. Let me do this. Please, please, please let me do this job.
Mrs. Davis is all-knowing and all-powerful. She not only knows you're coming for her, but she wants you to.
Then I better get going.
Simone, when we meet her, has a lot of anger in her towards a lot of the parts of the world that a good nun would be trying to open her arms to. To be a real nun, the women that I spoke to, they are dealing with just as much of the ugly of the world as they are the beauty of the world. And it's not self-serving. I think about all the actress panels that I've been on about being a bad woman for, holding a rubber gun and wearing a tight costume and saying the F word on camera. And these women that I talked to were actual bad, doing work at the border and working with parts of society that we like to push out of our brains because it's too depressing to think about. Within a couple pages of the pilot was so in and was reading the scenes out loud to myself and read my first scene with Jay out loud. And there's a line in my first scene with him before I, Betty, knew who he was, where I say, "Jesus, you're so intense." And I remember being like, Jesus, you're so intense. However I read it. And then in episode 2, reading it, being like, oh my God, he's Jesus.
What did you say when I proposed to you?
I said my dad will pay for the wedding if yours covers the rehearsal dinner.
Simone, what did you actually say?
Yes. Yes, Jesus.
How the hell am I ever going to say that line in the pilot without giving away to the audience? So we did it a million times, and I tried to bury it in whatever way I could. Like, Jesus, you're so intense. Jesus, you're so intense. But I was like, every time I'm just giving away that he's Jesus. And in the premiere, I kept looking around at that line, being like, did anyone guess that did I give it away? I remember talking to Damon and Tara. Oh, maybe when they have sex or kiss, is it? And she's in love with him. Is it like she's in love with air or a poem or the ocean? And they were like, no, she fell in love with a guy named Jay. He happens to be Jesus Christ. It's a very real relationship. Betty, had a knee-jerk reaction of, oh, I want there to be commentary on religion, or I want, us to bring down the man, when that's not the character. The character is somebody who has a very, very pure love. I don't like in performance when you can feel the actor trying to slip a subliminal note to the audience of well, I don't agree, or I feel differently than my character does, or kind of winking at Video Village, trying to put in one's own thesis statement. And I realized I have to drop all that.
Wiley? What is that on your face?
What, my stash?
A lot's changed since I last saw you. Meet the resistance.
What are you resisting?
Same thing you are. The algorithm.
Mrs. Davis?
Don't give it a 9! No one calls Facebook dog.
As we're seeing Simone realize that her relationship with Jay is not perfect, or she's sort of compartmentalizing her life as a nun, she's realizing, oh, I see the value in having this thing that Mrs. Davis, whether she wants to admit it or not, having something just giving you what you want and providing answers without any pain or wandering, I think is a real temptation. And I think she deals with that at the end too. This maybe isn't a HAL supercomputer with a very specific evil thesis statement. It's maybe just a robot puppy giving whoever is in front of them the version of truth that they want, which maybe has evil consequences, but maybe the intention is not evil. It was clear from day one that every single department, actors to props to writers to the sound guy, everybody was so putting in everything they had. I was so surprised at how much was practical, like how much was on set. In the first scene where you meet my character when I'm busting the magicians who are pretending to be cops and extorting money. I open the car door and I have the line, "Is this your cow?" Like the fake cow that they put in the road. And I thought it was going to be special effects. So I pressed this button, and when I pressed the button, a tin cow went, and I lost my damn mind. I screamed, immediately started crying. So I was like, I'm home. There's a tin cow. Noted. Props, come here right now. Set deck. I need all the department. Shook hands with them. Okay, we can do it again. I won't scream. Now I know where the bar is. That was amazing. One day I will be weeping in Jesus Christ's arms, and the next day I will press a button and a tin cow will appear from nowhere. It's noted, and I am lacing it into my performance. Thank you.
What is this?
Hatch. Hidden access tactical camouflage hideout.
Those are all the same word.
Hatch. It's an acronym.
Okay, what is that on your face?
What, my stash?
The staff. Can you even eat with that?
God's sakes, I can eat just fine.
I'm worried about crumbs.
Look, a lot's changed since I last saw you, Lindsay. We're at war.
My name is Simone. What war?
I'll explain later. Whole presentation for you back at headquarters.
Well, I remember we shot the motorcycle chase first. That's the first thing we filmed in the pilot. And then we were going to shoot the hatch scene the next day. And we just ran those lines together at our chairs on one of the motorcycle days. And we were just running it and sort of looked at each other like, oh, this is going to be really fun. We just kept saying it feels like we're 6 years old playing in the treehouse, imagining games by ourselves, but we're doing it for our jobs as 35-year-old people. The scene where we were in the couch, busting out of the couch in Celeste's office, I have to kick it open. And a professional actor, made a sound with my mouth, like as if we don't have a team of sound people to do that for us in post. And they yelled cut, and Jake was like, "Did you just make a sound with your mouth?" For a sound effect. I was like, "Shut up, Jake, I'm having so much fun." But that was every day. Oh my God, I love that boy so much.
What does the code do? Nobody knows. Who wrote it? Nobody knows. What we do know is that it lies. No famine, no wars. Come on! It just distracts its users. Sends them on little quests. And for what? Wings. Oh, look! Susie's got wings!
Chris, his first day was the Deck for None day, where he presents all this information that the audience really needs to know. It's really complicated in an Australian accent, with pictures. He had to remember which screen was where, and also to make comedy choices while keeping it really clear. It was an impossible task. And within the first 3 words out of his mouth, I just felt my tail of my nails going into my thigh as hard as possible to not laugh, because his performance is one of the craziest, most amazing things I've ever seen. It's like watching a singer, like someone start a song, and within the first 2 notes, you as an audience member know, like, this is going to be amazing. We are taken care of. This is a real a person who has complete control of their instrument. And then when we turned around on me, he was like, do you need anything from my end? I was like, it's great when you yell at me. Just keep yelling at me. I love it so much.
This is what it does. Everyone you meet is only trying to push you into doing what it wants.
It's just a matter of time before every person on Earth does whatever it asks them to.
I'm the best weapon you've got.
It's not like I'm taking a stand against playing exposition wife. You know, I got to pay my bills and I love acting. So whatever job comes to me that works for my schedule, I'm too tired to have a thesis statement. But I think that for a while, particularly in my 20s, getting parts on screen, it really had a lot to do with how I looked. And it sort of felt like, what's getting me the part? Is it looking affable in the wide shot, or is it the weird choices that I'm making in the close-up? Like, which is the necessary toll and which is the fun thing you didn't expect that you could take or leave? And it's funny, you know, being 36 now, which is still young, but feeling, you know, playing more mom parts, it's kind of makes me examine where I'm at personally in what I value about myself and what I think is necessary to get a job. You know, I think it dates me as someone born in 1986. I think people who were born in 1996 have a different relationship with the way they look and boxes they need to check in order to be on camera. Reading things I said 10 years ago, like, oh, I wish somebody would just recognize me for the character actress buried inside this thing. And as I start to age, I'm like, oh, am I part of the problem? You know, the systems that I'm railing against still exist and will always exist. But, you know, is the work that's possible to be done within me of being like, Betty, you know, maybe you need to get right with not having to bring the drugs to the party to be allowed in the party.
Let's party.
Hello?
Hi, I'm looking for the Grail, the Holy One.
This would have to have been 2008 or not, like whenever the original Gotham Girl came out. I have a picture somewhere of the hallway, the waiting room hallway, and it was just, there were 50 of us, like all just sitting in the tightest dresses possible with ringlets, just like staring into space. I think I may have still been in theater school and was wearing like mismatched Converse and teal wide leg movement pants and, you know, a purple wizard sleeve, like my acting class, you know, and hair, you know, unbrushed, split ends, no makeup, just being like, I'm here to make art and inhabit the character of Gossip Girl. I got a callback, but for the teacher, like they were like, your portrayal of a very disturbed woman makes you seem 45 years old, even though I was 21 or whatever I was. And they're like, we see something there. It's not the lead. You can come back as like the haunted teacher. And they were like, and they, in the email, they're like, please come back wearing makeup and a different outfit and high heels. Like full and bold bullet points. I was like, okay. And then, of course, did not get the part. It was like in the bubble of theater school where we would do scenes and the teachers would be like, let's get one thing straight. You're incredible. You're an artist. There's nothing wrong you can do. All right, let's take 10 minutes. We'd all be like, we are the future of acting. And then going on an audition and them being like, you're the ugliest person I've ever seen. You're 45 years old. Please come back, burn all your clothes. And be like, what? I thought I was a special buttercup. There's elements of haunted teacher in Mrs. Davis. It all led to something. Just took like 15 years.